a journey of a passionate Sufi lover who sets a unique example of sacrificing and love, which in general stands out in history, overall of mysticism and in particular of Sufism. So this paper illustrates the shades of Halaji love. Halaji love that is intense and that is passionate, the love which is categorically known as lunacy, because of the Sufis' loud and impulsive claims of being one with God, as Hussein bin Mansur Hallaj did. As a case study in this paper, I am presenting love of Hussein bin Mansur Hallaj, or a story of Hussein bin Mansur Hallaj, whose love for God was declared as heresy. And as an alleged heretic, he met a very tragic death, sentenced by the rulers or political elites of that time, a very tragic, very torturous and very painful death, which cannot be narrated even easily. Nonetheless, despite that tragic annihilation of Halaj, the story of his passionate love travels through history, crossing the centuries, and carries fragrance of that unique love to the modern times of 21st century. Let me define Halaj's kind of ishq, or Halaj's poetry, which is, as compared to Rumian concept of ishq, is quite severe, it's intense. So I am defining Halaji love through one couplet of Iqbal, that is in Urdu, and then I would explain it as well, in which Iqbal talks about a journey, and he believes that journey is essential, which is the journey of subjectivity, a journey within, a journey of a subjectivity outside. And he says, "Tu abhi rah guzar mein hai, qaid o maqam se guzar." You are still in the middle of the path. Transcend it. Come out of the limitations of reaching a destination. Tu abhi rah guzar mein hai, qaid o maqam se guzar, Misr o Hijaz se guzar, Faras o Sham se guzar. Jiska amal hai begharz, uski jaza kuch aur hai. जिसका अमल है बेगर्ज उसकी जज़ा कुछ और है, हुरो ख़याम से गुज़र, बादा ओ जाम से गुज़र, तेरी नमाज बेसुरूर, तेरा इमाम बेहुजूर, ऐसी नमाज से गुज़र, ऐसे इमाम से गुज़र. You are, he says, you are still in the middle of the path, transcend it, cross the barriers of destination, and he believes in crossing the geographical locations as well and passing through, submerged into it. And he says, cross Egypt, cross Al-Hijaz, and cross this Syria, and cross Persia. And then he says, those who act altruist, the reward would be something else. Those who are altruist, the reward would be something else. So don't pray for the desire of heaven. Don't pray for huris and beautiful women that you will get in heavens, and bada or jam and that alcohol or wine. Don't pray in return to that. Don't love in that way. And then he says, your prayer is charmless. Your muezzin or prayer leader or prayer spearhead is cold, is leaderless, it's charmless. Cross that namaz and shun away such prayer leader. Your namaz must have that ecstasy. Your imam in namaz too should be soaked in the trance, in love of the beloved, whoever be that beloved. So this is the prerequisite for the love. Yes, even in Halaji ishq, there's ethos of love. There is morality of, or there's an art of loving God as well. So Halaj, who immersed in trance of love, expressed his love in his own way, practiced his religion in his own way, whose namaz was unique, whose imam was out of ordinary, whose expression of love for his God or whose beloved was unparalleled in the history of ishq. Teri namaz besroor, तेरा इमाम बेहुजूर ऐसी नमाज से गुजर ऐसे इमाम से गुजर. So, unfortunately, that passionate love, can I have water? Unfortunately, that passionate love met very tragic death. Very briefly, I would like to tell the story of Halaj. Thank you, sorry. Halaj is an Arabic name for the weavers. He belonged to the family of weavers. One day, this Halaj left the banks of Farad and traveled through Basra to Baghdad. And when he reached Baghdad, he met Junaid Baghdadi. Junaid became his teacher. But Junaid was shocked over the way he expressed his love for God. And Junaid said to him that Hussein, his name was Hussein, I don't know why he's known as Mansur. He said to Hussein bin Mansur Hallaj that Hussein, the day will come. You will color the wood of a gibbet in red. And Hussein said, yes, the day I would color the gibbet in red, that day you will be wearing a cloak, a robe of law of the times. Or maybe you will be among those people who will be among the punishers. So, Hussein, to tell the truth, Hussein himself was not a commonplace person. There is a researcher who wrote about it that Hussein himself was not a commonplace person. He was among the elites of the era. And those people who punished Hussein, those were also not commonplace policemen. Those were political elites of the time, say Queen Mother and the young king and the biased and prejudiced Wazir. And those people who were in the congregation or in the crowd where Hussein was being hanged, those people, most of the people were not also commonplace. Just imagine that there was the time when Hanbali school of thought dominated that era or that, and that divided the Abbasid government into two. So this paper elaborates upon three shades of Halaji love. The first, in love, the lovers feel themselves merged with God. I think it's the intensity of Halaj that I'm coughing. Needless to mention, yeah. Yes, I'm feeling my throat choked. So it's already choking, and I'm on heart, I'm already choked for him. So there are three stages of love. One, in first stage, Halaji Ashiks feel united with God, they don't need practical meeting. Second, they don't like Molvi between the lover and the beloved. They don't want the muezzin or the cleric or clergies to tell the art of love for God. Third, they believe in sacrificing, being burnt, being hanged on the gallows. So, try this. Might help. Thank you. So, I would talk about the first stage. The first stage of ecstasy, which made Hussein say, Ana al-Haqq, I am the truth, or I am the divine truth. Because so submerged he felt with God. As Amir Khusro Dahlvi says, Man tho shudam, to man shudi, man than shudam, to jan shudi, in Persian. I have become you, you have become me, I have become the body of which you have become the soul. Man tho shudam, to man shudi, man tan shudam, to jan shudi, takas naguyat badazi, man digaram, to digari. I have become so much. You have become me, and I have become you, and I have become your body, and you have become my soul. And We have become so much submerged and inseparable that nobody can see you're someone else and I'm someone else. Takas naguyat badazi man digaram tu digari. Or Bhitai also said the same thing, because the Halaji kind of love, it is sprayed like wild winds. It like, is sprayed like contagious fires. And Bhitai said, Mulk midoi Mansur, kuhi kohande ketra. So I just would explain through poetry that how the poets from this region also explained this kind of love. Khwaja Ghulam Farid says, Mera ishq vi tu, mera yaar vi tu, mera Kaaba, Qibla, Masjid, Mambar, Musaf, te Quran vi tu, mere farz farize, Hajj zakata, Som, Salat, Azan vi tu, mera zikr vi tu, mera fikr vi tu, mera zauq vi tu, mera wajdan vi tu. You're my passion, you're my zeal, my friend, my faith, my creed. You're my holy Kaaba, you're my mosque, my pulpit, you're my holy books, my Quran, you're my religious obligations, my Hajj, my charity, my fasting, my call to prayer. You're my knowledge, you're my gnosis, you're my remembrance, my contemplation, you are my testing, and you're my ecstasy. In Hussein's own words, actually, I've got Hussein's poetry in Arabic with translation in Urdu. So, I would like to just recite a few of the lines in Urdu instead. E mere ayn wujud ke ayn, e meri mansha ki ghayat. E mere ayn wujud ke ayn, e meri mansha ki ghayat, e meri goyai, e meri ibarat o isharat. तू कि जिससे मेरी रूह वाबस्ता हो गई और फिर तल्फ हो गई और फिर तू मेरी ख्वाहिश का रहीन बन गया. Oh, you ultimate of my ultimate being, my existence, my focus of my wish, my power of speech, my writing, my gestures, you the essence of my original being, my hearing, my seeing, composition of my entire being. Just 2 lines from Arabic of Hussein. He says, لِأَنَّ رُوحِي قَدِيمٌ فِيهِ قَدْ عَطِشَتْ فِيهِ قَدْ عَطِشَتْ وَالْجِسْمُ مَمَاسُهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ تَرْقِيب. He says, because the soul was eternally thirsty, since the soul was eternally thirsty since beginning, even before its composition, it was drenched in that intoxication. One from Persian poetry, he says, Guftam ke to kiroi, Guftam ke kiroi to bidi zibai, Gufta khudra ke khud manam yaktai. He asked from him, just tell me how much you managed to be that much beautiful. What does it mean by this much beauty? And he says, he said, yes, I am beautiful because I am the oneness, I am the unity. Ham ashiqam, ham ishqam, wa ham mashuk, ham aine, ham jamal, wa ham binai. I am the lover, I am the beloved. I am the mirror, I am the holder of beauty, and I am the beholder. Second stage of passionate love is that the Sufi lovers or Halaji lovers, they don't like clerics in between the love of God and man. They really denounce it. Halaj says, "ए मोहब्बत को इल्ज़ाम देने वाले, तू अक्सर इल्ज़ाम देता है। ए मोहब्बत को इल्ज़ाम देने वाले, तू अक्सर इल्ज़ाम देता है। अगर तुझे सख्ती का इरफान होता तो तू इल्ज़ाम ना देता। लोगों के लिए काबे का हज है, मेरे लिए उसके साकिन का हज। वो गोश्त की कुर्बानी देते हैं, मैं खून दिल का हदिया पेश करता हूँ। लोग ज़ख्मों के बग़ैर उस घर का तवाफ़ करते हैं, बाखुदा वो तवाफ़ करते हैं लेकिन हरम का नहीं। Or you the one who always blames, who always calls in question the trueness, the truthfulness of this love. If you had a slightest of awareness, you would not have called in question integrity of this love. For common people, there's pilgrimage of Kaaba, but for me, this is the pilgrimage of being. They sacrifice meat and I present blood of my heart. They say they pay homage by doing tawaf or by walking around the sacred place. By God, they walk around, but not that haram. And the similar thought we get from Hussein bin Mansur Hallaj. In Arabic, I would mention, he says, it's very beautiful. One line is a huge poem, but I'm just mentioning one line. He says, Uriduka, I desire you. I desire you. He talks to God, actually, no less than that. He talks to God. He says, I desire you, la uriduka lis-sawab. But I don't want you, I don't desire you for sawab, or for blessing, or for alms or charities. So there is a kind of, standard that if I'm praying, that I don't want any return. The similar thing Iqbal says in Urdu. He says, Sajde ke evaz jannat mile manzoor nahi Iqbal. सजदे के एवज जन्नत मिले मंजूर नहीं इकबाल बेलोस इबादत करता हूँ बंदा हूँ तेरा मजदूर नहीं. And he says that इकबाल का नहीं है. So this it says इकबाल सजदे के एवज जन्नत मिले मंजूर नहीं इकबाल बेलोस इबादत करता हूँ बंदा हूँ तेरा मजदूर नहीं. That he says, I do not wish for heaven in return of my submission to you. I submit altruistically because I am your creature, I am not your laborer or your worker. Sachal. Sachal says, na me kita khadka tasbida, ate na me zuhd ibadat. Na me kita khadka tasbida, ate na me zuhd ibadat. Na me zer zabarda kita, na me taqwa taat. Sachal datha bakht sawaya, jo me kiti ishq amanat. या बुलेशा सेज रब रब कर दे बुढ़े हो गए मुल्ला पंडित सारे रब दा खोज खरा ना लभा सजदे कर कर हारे रब ते तेरे अंदर वसदा विच कुरान इशारे बुलेशा रबों नू मिलसी जड़ा अपने नफ्स नू मारे. Or another line, he says, Rab nahi milda sirf vich masiti. So the Halaji Sufi rejects the concept of piety cherished by the clergies, who endorse upon ritualistic prayers, who endorse upon whatever they endorse, whatever the muezzins endorse upon. Halaji ashiks denounce that. Hussain bin Mansur Hallaj has been traveling, just a brief about him, that he has been traveling to different places. He has been meeting people of different faith, of different religions. He met Hindus, he met Buddhists, and he said that I have done a deep cognitive research about religions. All religions of the world are connected with each other. He says they are connected with each other like roots with several branches. They cannot be separated. And then he says, do not ask from people about their faith. The moment you do that, by asking, you detach them from their origin. So this was a way of thinking of Hussain bin Mansur Hallaj. Then you could imagine that what could be the reason that Hanbali Maktaba Fikr of that time might have decided, or maybe some other reasons, there are political reasons, I'm not going deep into that. They might might have decided to hang him. Or his poetry, that the ironic thing is that when he started saying that the real Kaaba is important, but the Kaaba that is inside heart, that is more important. And Bayazid Bastami also said the same thing, but of course he was not touched like that. That was the time actually Khana Kaaba was being attacked by Karmati rebels. So when Hussain was being hanged, his gallows had that name, a Karmati label. So people blamed him, which is totally wrong. Third, last point. In that love, they tend to be annihilated. And they feel that death is meeting with God. That's why Sufis don't celebrate birthdays. They celebrate death days. They call it urus, or meeting with God. Hussain says, oh, you my friends. He already forgave his killers because he wanted to die like this. He said, oh, you my friends with authority and power, kill me. Understand that my life is in my death is in my life, near me. Annihilating my existence is the most priceless of doings. With this attribute of passionate love, I merge with the supreme infinity. Sar dar qadam-e yor fida shud, che baja shud. I sacrifice my head for the beloved. What a good fortune. Sar dar qadam-e yor fida shud, che baja shud. In bore girambud ada shud, che bajadu. It was just a burden on me. This life or this head was burden on me, and I just accepted death. I actually paid the date. Bhitai, some Sindhi verses from couplets from Bhitai. Surya sadthyo ka halandi jedyu gibbets beckon. Surya sadu थियो का हलंदी जेडियूं वञण तन पयो नालो नीह गिनहन जे. Only those would obey the call who are true lovers. Or he says, जॾहिं लगन नेण त सूर्याई सेज थी, सूर्य चढ़ण सेज पसण ये कम आशिकन पाहूं कीन पसन साऊ हलन साम्या. When eyes match with the eyes of beloved. And that is the time when eyes match with the eyes of the beloved. There's the time the gibbets become the nuptial pad. He says, Ashik zahar piyak, vihudisi vehsan ghano. These are lovers, they are addicted to poison taking. The moment they see the poison, they go in trance. Ashik zahar piyak, vihudisi vehsan ghano. कड़े ऐं कातिल जा हमेशा हैराक लगिन लऊं लतीफ़ चए फना कया फिराक तोड़े चिकनन चाक तब आग न ॾीन आम खे. He says that the moment they see the poison, they go into trance, they become jubilant, they are always accustomed to the bitter and deadly wine. Latif says they have fallen in love and separation from beloved has completely obliterated them. And last line, this is the most important in Bhitai. He says, they are on the gallows, they have drunken with that bitter concoction, poisonous concoction, but they don't tell anybody. They don't tell anybody, and they are so submerged into it that they hide it, they stay modest. So you are in the pen, you have to hide it. This is Bhitaian ethics. So I have got the caution to conclude the speech. I think Sufi's love is subjective, and I wish if that deadly form of love or ishq is for society as well. And sometimes I think revolutionaries are like this, and then the people who participated in revolution, they come into mind. Imagine what if the subjective passion of Sufi becomes objective. If similar kind of the divine love is used for the change and transformation of society. Faiz Ahmad Faiz says, this जिस धज से कोई मक्तल में गया वो शान सलामत रहती है, ये जान तो आनी जानी है, इस जान की कोई बात नहीं. So, recall romantic revolutionary character of Cuban revolution, mastermind of Cuban revolution, Amina Kishwar Kamal of Rawa, Afghanistan, Sando, Chen Yat-sen, Mandela, Luxembourg. These are the revolutionaries. I think the last stage of Sufi ishq, when they want to die, that relates to that. I'm concluding this because this is not the subject today to talk on the revolutionaries, the passionate love of revolutionaries. So I will conclude it with Usman Haruni's nazm. Nemi donam akhir chun dame didar mi raksam. I don't know, the moment I see him, I start dancing. Nemi donam akhir chun dame didar mi raksam, magar nazam be inzoqi ke pishe yar mi raksam. But I have a pride that the moment I see my beloved, I start dancing. Tu hardam mi sarai nagme, wa har bar mi raksam, be har tarz ke mi raksanim, ay yor mi raksam. He says, whatever the time you sing poetry, I dance, and by means you make me dance. By any means you make me dance, I start dancing. Tu on qatil ke az behre tamasha khune man rizi. You are the killer, who for the demonstration shed my blood, manon bismil ke zire khanjare khun khar mi raksam. And I am the one who is dancing under the killer knife. Biyo jana tamashakun besat sama. Biyo jana tamashakun dar ambo hejan bazan besat saman ruswai sare bazar mi raksam. Oh my love, come see the phenomenon that among the sacrifices with its course of infame, still I dance. Khush on rindi. خوش آن رندی که پامالش کنم صد پارسایی را زه تقوا که من با جبه و دستار می رقصم. The drunkenness is better. I shun hundreds of pieties with the piety, with the religious cloak, head cover, I dance. Manam Usman Haruni ke yor Sheikh Mansuram. Malamat mi kunat khalke wa man bardar mi raksam. I'm Usman Haruni. I'm a friend of Hussein bin Mansur Hallaj. People condemn me, but I'm dancing on the gallows. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for wonderful presentations. So we have a short of time, so I would request audience to ask only 2 questions, and rest of questions you can ask from the participant after the sessions. So, any questions? Please give the mic. So only 2 questions I will take here, and the rest of the questions you can ask after the sessions.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। बहुत खूबसूरत गुफ्तगू की सहर गुल ने। मैंने वो इशारा दिया था कि एक शेर वो इकबाल का नहीं है, लेकिन उसी मज़मून में इकबाल कहता है कि सौदागरी नहीं ये इबादत खुदा की है, बेखबर जज़ा की तमन्ना भी छोड़ दे। लेकिन वो शेर नहीं है इकबाल का। थैंक यू।
As last, second row.
सवाल नहीं है, लेकिन जो हल्लाज के इश्क का दूसरा मरहला आपने बताया, वेयर ही डजंट वांट क्लर्जी एंड फॉर्मल थिंकिंग बिटवीन हिज लव एंड गॉड, सो वहाँ पर मैं एक शेर कोट करना चाहती हूँ। फरमाते हैं एक सूफ़ी दरवेश, हाफिज़ कुरान नहीं मैं आशिक़ कुरान हूँ, हाफिज़ कुरान नहीं मैं आशिक़ कुरान हूँ, आया ये कुर्सी में मुझको जुमला कुरान याद है। I am not the one who has learnt Quran by heart, but I am the true lover of Quran because I know the whole Quran just within Aya Kursi. हाफिज़ कुरान नहीं मैं आशिक़ कुरान हूँ, आया कुर्सी में मुझको जुमला कुरान याद है। Thank you.
Thank you. So, with the round of applause, I would say thanks to all the speakers. Thank you very much. So, for the next session, I would request Dr. Channa Sahab to